And we are joined by Sanjay Chadha, who's an advocate of the Supreme Court of India. Thank you very much, Mr. Chadha, for being with us. Now, happy Constitution Day to you. Also, how does the Indian Constitution ensure the protection of fundamental rights? Let's start with that.
First of all, my heartiest congratulations to each Indian, everybody here, and to all our listeners on this Constitution Day, National Law Day, as we call it. Now, coming back to your question, how our Constitution gives protection to the most important right, which is fundamental rights, and we must know the important provisions of fundamental rights are enumerated, are present in Part 3 of the Constitution. And to protect these rights, there is a special provision by way of various writs which we can go and file in the high courts. And right. Specifically, if there is a violation of fundamental right, we can straight away go to the Supreme Court under Article 32 of the Constitution. But that is what very, very importantly enshrines in the Constitution. If I may go to the Constitution per se, right. Because today is the Constitution Day.
Let me just ask you, we'll break it up slowly. Let's now go to the preamble. How does the preamble in a way reflect the core values and the vision for the country as a future?
Look, preamble gives a gist of the entire Constitution. What is the motive? What is the objective? What is the spirit of the Constitution that is mentioned in the preamble? And preamble very specifically mentions the rights, equality, right to equality, and so on and so forth. Everything they have mentioned, and what is the nation's objective, and how we have to grow further, as how we have to take everybody together. That's what is in a very gist of the Constitution is mentioned in the preamble. If you have to know what is there inside the Constitution, you just read one page. That is our preamble of the Constitution. That's what.
Indeed. And how does the Constitution balance, let's say, the powers between the center and the states? That's also something that perhaps our international audience would like to know.
Wonderful. This is a very important thing. Like, our Constitution provides a very specific separation of power. But this separation of power is very nicely defined. But despite that, if any of the limb of the government, we can broadly divide these limbs into three. One is judiciary, other is legislature, and third is executive. And if any of these three limbs, overreach the other, like some law is passed. I give an example here. Some law is passed, and that law is ultra vires to the Constitution. The Supreme Court, that is the judiciary, or the High Court, Constitutional Court, can go into the detail and can hold this law as ultra vires to the Constitution and set aside that particular law also. So balanced of power. If executive, like very recent judgment of bulldozer, 3-4 days back, we were discussing about that also. Right. Executive was passing an order through which, without giving any opportunity to be heard, a person is punished. So that the Supreme Court said that no, principle of natural justice is utmost, and we have to follow that. And Supreme Court stuck such provisions, such powers, and said that such powers are against the true spirit of the Constitution. So there is a very nice provision. There are very nice provisions which are not only separate the powers, number one. Number two, if there is an overreached, or some of the limb has done something which is not within the power, which is ultra vires to the Constitution, which is against the spirit of the Constitution, then such provision, such power will be struck down.
So there's between the different wings of government, but also, between the center and the state. After all, we are a federal government, a federal structure, a union of states. How is this different from other countries of the world?
Well, first of all, we have very nicely defined every we have subjects. Let's say on each like central government is there and the state government is there. Both of them have been given separate like lawmaking power is there. So states have their own list, central has their own list, and there is a concurrent list also where
Right.
both of them can make laws. So a very strict demarcation is made, which is to be followed by all the states as well as by the central government. So very nice demarcation is also given there, which
Right.
is strict sense of followed always. And once there is any problem, let's say some overreaching is there, then in that case, based upon the situation, judiciary will intervene and can sort out the confusion.
So you've clearly explained for us the separation of powers also between the center and the states and the different wings of the government. But let's look at the constitution promoting social justice, equality. We have such a diverse population in our country. How does the constitution give us direction for that?
Look, sir, broadly there are two, three things which I want to mention it in that. There are like this constitution itself gives us the power of affirmative action,
Right.
where the government, the lawmaking bodies can make certain provisions for certain people, like which are backward, which are SC, STs, backwards, OBCs. For them, special affirmative action can be taken. Backward people have to be pushed a little up, and government will support them. That is what is right to equality. So this is similarly religion. We are we always feel proud that this is the country. Our country is where it's a home of so many religions. We are not having only one religion with us. We have several religions, and the beauty of this constitution, beauty of this nation is that we all live together, and the constitution give special rights to the minorities, the people who are in less in number. They've been given protection by the constitution. Specific provisions, article 25, 26, 27, 28, and
Right.
up till 30, up to article 30 of fundamental right specifically mentioned the right to the minorities based on religion, linguistic minorities, and so on and so forth. So there is a great, these all provisions are really great. But I want to say one more thing. This constitution came, our constitution is very flexible. That is another
Indeed.
beauty, I would say.
In fact, that's a question that I was wanting to ask you. Why is the constitution living and progressive as the president has described it today? Is it just the amendment process? Is it the judicial interpretation which gives it some sort of direction? Or, there's also this intrinsic vision which is there, like the directive principles and things like that, which gives it, guides the policy for the future and the laws.
Very nicely, you yourself have explained everything. But very nicely, I can say that yes, there are judicial interpretations, there are directive principle of state policies, there is, though separation of power is there, and as I said, that law is a dynamic thing. Law is not static, it will not remain static. We see that technology, digitalization, all has happened so fast and with such a pace that our constitution has, despite all that developments, have kept its pace with it. And we have successfully, by virtue of various judicial pronouncements, we have seen today, if I may say one line, that
Right.
today the word is drawing its power from our judicial pronouncements, where and our progress in like judicialization of the courts, and Supreme Court has done humongous work on that.
Sure.
And we are on the path of it. We are every day progressing. The data is developing every day. One or the other thing is happening every day, if I may say so. So,
Indeed. So, what about the Constitution and its accessibility to the people? In different languages, for instance. And today, also, there was the copy of the Constitution is out in Sanskrit and in Maithili. It's sort of like linking the past with the present and the future as well.
so yes, that is another, because today is the Constitution Day. So we are on each and every these all these points are really giving us again a happiness that yes, all those languages which are there in the seventh schedule, these languages have been sorry, on in the eighth schedule they are being in all these languages. Our constitution is there today. Prime Minister, our president, vice president, and all leader of opposition, everybody was there on the dais when these two language constitution were opened and released. So that's another beauty, I must say. So that with this kind of documentation, with this kind of reach, that each and every person who's down the line will get to know what is there in the constitution and what are the rights and what are the duties an individual has. So that
Right.
certainly is a very, very positive thing.
Also, there are different people who are called constitutional authorities, and they are all mentioned. Their roles are mentioned in the Constitution, right from the president, down to, let's say, the comptroller and auditor general. There's the election commission. There's the justices of the courts, the governors of states. All these. How would you look at the roles of these people and in trying to let's say the separation of powers also and giving them the strength to act independently?
The most important thing is this, that none of these officials, be it the highest legal officer of the country, be it all the constitutional posts, they are independent. They are not under any pressure. They work within the given the provisions of the constitution, and they are the constitutional bodies like election commission. Who can think of having election of such a big land mass where such a large number of voters are there? So election commission is there, and it is an independent election commission because of the strength which comes from the prime document, the Constitution of India. So I feel all these bodies, all judicial pronouncements we see dynamic, and many a time we have seen the judgments going against the government. Why it happens, how it happens, how if the government is there, then it should go in favor of the government. No, because of the spirit of the constitution, that what rule of law, what is rule of law, what is how checks and balances we have to adopt. That is what is there in the spirit of constitution, and that is the strength which is provided by our own constitution, I feel.
Well, thanks very much, Mr. Sanjay Chadda, advocate of the Supreme Court, for joining us. And I know that you're a chess enthusiast, so let's hope that Gukesh can pull one back from Ding Liren today.
Last night I was watching the entire match, but unfortunately there were little quick decisions which he has taken. He doesn't play that.
Right.
That is not his style, which he plays.
So he's coming back today. Let's hope for that.
Yes, he will. He will.
Right. Okay. We leave it there. Thanks very much, Mr. Chadda, for being with us.